Back at it again with another episode of Arnold's Thoughts Podcast. It's your boy Arnold. And I fooled. I messed up big time. Because I came on here and I talked to you guys about passports and things you're supposed to be looking for. And I didn't even do the due diligence myself. So this episode is back talking about passports and situations you need to look for when you are traveling.
What are you thinking? Yeah. What are you thinking? Yeah. If you wanna know my thoughts, open your ears when I talk. Yeah. What are you thinking? Hey. What are you thinking? Hey. If you wanna know my thoughts, open your ears when I talk. Yeah.
So just to break it down, just off the rip, I lost a job because I didn't do what I've been telling you guys to do this whole time, and that's focus on your passport issues, man. I didn't focus on my passport like I was supposed to. So I had got a job offer in Asia, in Middle Eastern Asia area. And something just told me, go look at your passport. I was just so ready to go. Time to go, man, job coming. And I didn't even pay attention to my passport. I didn't pay attention to how many pages I had left. So I got like free space that can be stamped. But I don't have any other pages. I be traveling, y'all. Your boy be on it. I'm gone. Passport booked. If you ain't traveling like this, if you ain't got visas, I'm out of here. I've been gone. And this is just in 5 years. This is just over a 5-year span. My passport is completely full. I did not pay attention to it, so I ended up losing a job because I could not get my because in order to get a new passport, just so you know, in order to get a new passport fast, you will have to set an appointment. So the appointment that I needed to set was from where I'm at. The appointment, they have one in Atlanta, and in Atlanta it's like 4.5 hours drive. They were booked. You can't. To get the new passport renewed, you would have to have a flight that's already booked within 2 weeks just to have the appointment to get the new passport. You can't just go to any place to get a passport. You have to go to a certain places. I know Miami is one place, Atlanta is another place, Washington D.C., because that's where they actually make the passport. Not every state you can just go to and they're gonna make the passports for you. It doesn't happen like that. You can go to a place in your state to have it to file for it, but to actually get a brand new one on the spot, you have to go to the hot spots, and they're in different. I know on East Coast, Miami is one place, Atlanta's another place, Washington D.C. I'm 6.5 hour drive from Washington D.C. I'm 4.5 hour drive from Atlanta, and I'm 12 hours, 13 hours from Miami. And I have to have the flight booked. So I did not have the flight booked before because I didn't know I didn't have enough pages. I was just so focused on what you do when you're in the country there, and not focus on the requirements to leave first. I remember I told y'all before, you must have 6 months minimum on your passport, valid to even leave, to enter a country. So before you enter the country, you want to have the rule of thumb. First, make sure anywhere that you're going that you have at least 6 months on your passport that's valid, 6 months left. You don't want to be anywhere under in that 6 month period. Some other countries will let you have a little less. They will let you have a little less, but it's far few than none. You don't even want to get rule of thumb. Make sure you have at least 6 months valid on your passport before you go anywhere. If it's less than 6 months before you have to renew it, you might as well get it renewed before that. 6 months. Remember that. 6 months before. I know a couple countries that are like that is Thailand, Turkey, Vietnam. They're like that where you you have to have 6 months left. I know Switzerland, and I think it's Switzerland and some other country, they let you have like 3 months. I know there's also like if you're in Europe and you travel a lot in Europe, it's called like the I don't know Schengen area. That's like where all those countries there in Europe, they don't really require you to travel because there's a bunch of countries together. They don't really require you to have your passport. Like you have to have your passport, but you don't have to have it like renewed because they're so close together. But I know in France you have to have at least 3 months when you go into France. At least you got to have 3 months. And okay, the next thing is the blank pages. Like having enough blank pages in your passport before you go to the like another country. Mexico, Canada, UK, Germany, they are some that require you to have at least one page free. So like in my passport, I don't have a free page. Like I don't have a free page because this one's already taken up. I have free spaces. I know there's some countries in South America that I can still go to and I could just get it stamped because I have a free space. I still have like 1, 2, 3, 4, like entry and exit. I probably 5. I got another of those space. So I got about a couple stamps left, but I definitely got to get my passport renewed. I definitely got it. And I'm like in a little weird situation because if I go send it to them to get renewed, it probably takes like 5 to 6 weeks to get renewed. So it's better I just wait for a team to call me. I go into the country, which is like South America. South America is probably one of the only places where you can have this much space and they can come and stamp it and you still have it. Then I will get the passport done there in their embassy, because a lot of times when you go to another country in their embassy, there's the embassy there is they let you get a new passport for like Americans, people who's traveling. Hey, I need a new passport right here. They let you get a new passport there. Unlike in America, you have to go to one of these certain hotspots in different sides of the region. Like I say, DC, Atlanta, Miami are places where you can actually go there and they'll redo it. I'm in North Carolina. I'm like in the center of nothing. So it's not like just a quick hour drive or I'm right there. It's not like that. So you don't want this situation like I did. Didn't pay attention. Pay attention to your passport. Other countries with the pages, Italy, Sweden, Singapore, and like Iceland. I know a lot of guys play in some of those places. Italy, Singapore. I know people in Italy, Singapore, Iceland right now, and they require you to have at least 2 pages free. At least 2 pages in your passport you gotta have free before you move, before you can so you can go to that country. Those are like, you have to look at the requirements in that country before you go to that country. See how many pages, see where you're at. If you're an adamant traveler like me and your passport is full within 5 years, then you need to get on it and get you a new passport before that time period is up. And that's also with getting visas. So like some countries that you can go without a visa, and a lot of countries you have to go with a visa. And the visa requirements in your passport are also different as well. Like I think going to South Africa, just for an example. I know guys go to Africa all the time to play as well. They require you to have 2 pages in your passport free so you can get the visa and get it stamped. Like these are some certain places that you have to have 2 pages free. China, you have to have 2 pages in consecutive to get a visa. Like to have you have to have 2 pages to get a 6-month visa to be there. But if you want to get the 10-year visa, you have to have 2 pages in consecutive just to get the 10-year visa. Like they have to be in consecutive, the 2 pages. So it can't be like, okay, they stamp here and then I got a free one and then somebody stamp here and then, no, they have to be in consecutive. And it's so crazy because other countries, they can't be the last 2 pages. Like you can have 2 pages, but they can't be the last 2 pages. It's so many little tricks to it is crazy. I know Brazil, India, they also offer 10-year visas, but you gotta have a certain amount of pages and consecutive to go with it. All I'm saying is make sure you look at your passport and really study the game of the passport, because I'm 9 years in and I'm still having issues with this. And I get so kind of productive because I sit here and I get online and I tell y'all, hey, yeah, go look at your passport. Go make sure you do this for when you're in another country, and make sure you're abiding by the rules in another country. And then I get out here and I end up losing a job, like 4 or 5 jobs. I had like 4 or 5 jobs lined up, really good, high-paying jobs, like really good, was going to be perfect for my situation, and I can't take them because I forgot that I don't have enough pages. Oh, and by the way, after COVID, getting an appointment for a passport got even harder. So when I tried to set my appointment, they told me that they told me that the only appointment, Atlanta didn't even have an appointment, which was closer. They didn't even have none for like the next 3 weeks. Think about that for a second, for the next 3 weeks. So if I had a job that was leaving the next week, I couldn't even go. I had to go to like DC. So I would probably have to catch a flight to go to DC. Hopefully they have it done in the same day. Hopefully. There's not no guarantee that they're going to have it in the same day. So probably stay there for a day or two just to get your passport, fly back just to be able to fly to another country. So many complications. So many complications. Visas. China. Like this was another one. I had another job offer in China. Right? And I would have to wonder, like, how can I use, because I have a valid visa from China, I got a 10-year tourist visa in China. Well, the team was like, well, we need to get you a working visa. A work visa is way better. So you could stay there 10 years consecutively. You could live there. It's different standards for different visas. Got to know which apply to your situation. If you're just on a tourist visa, you can only be there for like 2 months at a time. China only allows you to be in their country for like 2 months at a time on a lot of the visas. That's primarily the amount of time that you can stay there. But if you got like a 10-year visa, they let you go out, come right back in with the 10-year visa as much times as you want. That's another thing. Some of these countries only allow you to come into their country a certain amount of times for that year. So if you're in a country where they only allow you to be in the country for 2 months, because a lot of teams in different countries don't want to get the work visa because it costs too much, and they can just have you leave and come back. I know that was like that in Colombia. They had us on tourist visas, which only allowed us for 2 months, but the contract or the season was only like 3 months, but they had 2. So you was able to come into the country for that first season. That's one entry, tourist visa. You could stay up to 90 days, which was cool because the season normally only lasted between like 3.5 months. And that's if you made it all the way to the finals, you know. So they would let you do that. Then the second season comes, that's your second entry, you know. But for whatever reason you want to come back, you can't come back in for a third time into the country. Like say something happened. You have a family situation, you got to leave. Once you leave and they want to bring you back and the season's not over it, and say you still have to play the next season, you're not going to be able to come back. Because you're only able to enter into the country a certain amount of times per year per country. You can't just go in, go out, go in, go out, go in, out. Oh, something happened, I need to leave for this, and I come back. No, it doesn't work like that either. Certain countries only allow you to come into their country a certain amount of time, depending on the visa you got, depending on what it's for. Like there are so many little mini stipulations that you have to follow in their rules. And remember, like I said on my last video, being deported because I didn't pay attention to one simple thing got me deported. That happened. That ended up me missing my whole daughter's birth because I could not enter into the country over one little thing. Over one little thing caused all these many different complications. So don't be a fool like I was multiple times. Like now, still to this day, you live, you learn. Learn from my mistakes so y'all don't have the same issues that I did. Oh, last thing about the visas. Like some countries allow you to have the visa. Like my visa, as I was talking about, my visa is valid for 10 years. I still have like 6 years or 4 years left on my visa. But I have to get a new passport. So you're able to take your old visa. Like you're able to take your old visa. I don't want y'all trying to scam up off my stuff. I'm gonna let y'all get a quick glimpse. You're able to get a new visa. I mean, you're able to keep this same visa even if the passport is old. So if you have a valid visa, but this only applies to some countries. China is one of them. India is another one. Saudi Arabia and Brazil. I know those are a couple that I've researched that they, for sure, that you can go take your old visa that's still valid with your old passport, get a new passport, and bring that to the country with you. So because it's like trying to get a new visa, one, you're gonna have to pay for a whole one. It costs two. It's like too many stipulations for them to transfer it over, so they just allow you to take your passport with you, your old one, and bring your new one with the pages and the validity, and bring that into China, Brazil, Saudi Arabia, India are some of the ones that I know that you can do that I've researched. There probably some other countries, but I don't know. The whole point is do your research. If you're a traveler, if you are going to different countries, if you are a player, especially us basketball players, and we do a lot of high traveling, we do go to a lot of different countries all across the world, please pay attention to your passport and don't be caught up like I was caught up. I did not pay attention and now I'm paying the price. You will pay the price for not paying attention. That's all I got for you guys. Until next time.